Hey guys, so here is my vlog about our safari tour. Um, so this was on the Tuesday, um, June the 25th. And so we got up early, and the hotel that we stayed at in Myrtle Beach had a complimentary breakfast. So we had breakfast really early, and the hotel arranged a taxi for us, and thankfully this taxi was a lot cheaper than the other taxi. I think it came to like $24 for like a 50-minute taxi ride. So anyways, the way that the Myrtle Beach Safari works is they have two different locations. One is like open to the public, and I think it's like every night from 6 until 9. And that address is listed on their website. It's in Barefoot Landing, and it's called the Preservation Station. So, but the VIP tours, which is like a 3-hour tour where you get to interact with all kinds of animals, um, that's at a separate location that's kept private. And so when you register for the tour and pay, they send you directions on how to get to the place. So there's no address or anything. So we just gave the directions to our taxi driver, and he took us there, and we arranged for him to to pick us up afterwards since he had the directions. So we were under the impression it would end around 1, so we just said 1:15 to play it safe. So after he dropped us off, thankfully there were some benches for us to wait on. So just a bit before 9:15, a gentleman came out from the safari. They had this huge gate that almost looked like something from Jurassic Park. And so he came out from there and came around to everyone, and everyone had to sign a waiver, um, because obviously you're going to be with wild animals, and as well trained as they probably are, you never know what can happen. So we basically had to like sign our life away because they like said, like, you understand that you could be injured or die, basically. So we filled that out, and the cool part is that we met um, two girls from Toronto, and they had been on a few different animal encounter tours at various locations or whatever. They've even been to Africa and stuff. It was crazy, but so anyways, we got talking with them, and they're from Toronto, so that was kind of cool. And they said that they pretty much came down to Myrtle Beach just for the tour as well, so that was kind of interesting. So we just sat talking with them for a while, and then once everyone was there, they brought us in the gate, and they kind of, went over all the rules and, what's going to happen. And Alex just burped really loudly. Um, so, so anyways, after they went over the rules and everything, we weren't allowed to bring any cell phones, no cameras, nothing. They had even said not to bring a bag, like a purse or anything. So we never did. I just put my credit card in my pocket to pay for the taxi, and our hotel key in my pocket, and the directions, and that was pretty much it. Um, but these other girls, they brought a purse with them, and they were actually able to lock it up somewhere. So I kind of wish I had have brought mine, but whatever. So they took us to the main cabin, if you will. And so in there, um, they put us in, well, everyone was in kind of like groups. So like if you were there by yourself, that was one thing. But if you were there with someone, like for me, I was with my mom. So they would group you together with who you were with and take your pictures. So they put us under my last name, and it was so they took a picture of my mom and I, and so they did that for everyone. And while this was happening, they had all these TVs playing different things, and so the man was kind of going over what we were seeing on all the TVs, and so they were just talking about how their animals have been in movies such as Ace Ventura, Napoleon Dynamite. Um, they were in commercials. They showed us one commercial they did for Schweppes where there's like all these different animals all in one room. And they were just saying it was like a really hard thing to do. And then they also had like TV shows and stuff. And also like they had clips from like concerts or awards shows where they used animals. Like one was a Britney Spears dance number where they had like their I think it was like a lion or a tiger behind her. So things like that. So it's kind of interesting. They work with a lot of projects to help endangered species. And so like a lot of the money from the tours and stuff like that goes to help these projects. So, anyways, yeah, we learned about all that stuff. It was really interesting. And then once all the pictures were done and everyone was ready to go, they gave us one last chance to go to the bathroom since there would be no bathrooms throughout the tour. So we did that, and then there was like a big glass window, and they brought out a liger, which is a cross between a tiger and a lion, 900 pounds. And we got to see, they got him to like stand up on his hind legs so we could see like how big he is. And they did that by like giving him a big piece of meat. So we got to see him through the glass and learn all about the ligers and stuff. And then they took us out a door, and we got to go right out where he was. And so they had him on a platform with the trainer, and we learned more about him. And then after that, we each got to go in our picture groups and sit in front of him for a picture. So that was pretty cool. I knew that was going to happen prior to us going there. I was a little bit nervous about it since he's so big, but once I got there, like I was totally fine. I was just so excited about everything. So we sat in front, got the picture taken, and then after that, we went to this area where there was like these benches in a circle, and we got to sit down, and they brought out this animal called a binturong. I've never heard of it before, but it has like a prehensile tail, and I think it's from Africa or something. Anyways, it was a really interesting animal, and we were all sitting in a circle, and they had him walk the circle on our laps, and they had us put our hands up so that as he walked, he would walk under our hands, and we'd get to touch him. And then we were supposed to smell our hands after because apparently this animal like has a popcorn smell to it. We couldn't smell it on our hands because I don't think we really got like a good pat, like it was so fast. But yeah, that was interesting. And then from there, they took us to, if I remember correctly, where did we go next? I think we went to see a cheetah. Um, we didn't get to like interact, but we were close to the cheetah. They brought him out, and he was just like wanting to run because he was smelling his girlfriend apparently, and he wanted to be with her. So it was like really interesting, and we just learned about that. And then I'm just trying to remember the order that everything happened. It's really hard to remember. Um, then I think it was, we went into another area that had benches in a circle. And first they had us sitting facing out of the circle. And they brought around a tiger cub, a slightly older tiger cub. And they had him sit across our laps. And I got to feed him a bottle for the picture. And then after that, they brought out a little baby tiger cub, and we got to like hold him like next to our face and snuggle. And then they brought him around a second time, and we got to go like face to face for a picture. So that was cute. And then they had us sit down on the floor or on the ground inside the circle, and they just let a whole bunch of tiger cubs loose to run across our laps and whatever they wanted to do. And we got lots of pictures of that and video because we purchased a DVD and a CD of pictures. So like there's someone filming it and taking pictures the whole time for us, which is great. And so we had like there was white tigers and then your regular orange tigers, and they were just like climbing all over us. It was great, and a couple of them just like laid down in between my mom and I and just chilled there for a while, and we got to pet them a lot and stuff like that. And then when that was done, they brought out a baby lynx, and we got to cuddle that a bit and stuff. Then they had us sit back on the benches, and they brought out 3 wolves. So we got to pet those and interact with those. My mom was a little bit nervous about them because when they brought them out, they were close together, and they started to like get mad at with each other. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking, but it was okay. And then after we did that, we had a break where we got to have some refreshments free of charge. Well, I mean, I guess it was included in the price of our tour. For the amount we spent, I can understand why. So anyways, we went up on this balcony, and they had these really nice, I guess it was like an organic granola bar, some water, or there was, I think, iced tea, but we just had water. And they had some other snack. I can't remember what it was, but it was so. I liked the granola bars. So we got to just, and they had fans on the balcony to help cool us down because it was really, really, really hot. We were just like sweating buckets, like it was crazy. But we didn't care because we were just having so much fun. And, because I had my sunburn, I was really worried. So I had plastered myself with sunscreen before we left, and I wore my hat. But thankfully, a lot of the spaces we went to had shade. So that was really good. Like when we were sitting down with the tigers, they put umbrellas up to shade all the way around. And then the balcony was shaded as well. So while we had shade and had refreshments, they did a demonstration showing us how fast tigers can run. They had a lure that they had them chase across. So that was really neat to see. When we were finished that, we started to walk to this other area, and we got to see an African bald eagle, I believe it was called. It looked a lot like the American bald eagle, but it was from Africa, and it was beautiful. And for some reason, they didn't take pictures of him, and they didn't film him. So we don't have any record of him to show you guys, but he was gorgeous, and he would put his wings out, and his wings were just huge. So we just learned about him, and he was fairly new to the preserve, so they haven't brought him out much for the public because he's still getting used to it. So then from there we went to see Bubbles the elephant, and it's funny because that's the only one that I remember the name of, because it's Bubbles, like how can you forget that? So again, we went up on another balcony type thing, and we got to watch like them, well, first off, they were, giving us facts about the elephant. And then in order to get him to drink on cue so that they can show how they use their trunk to drink, they give Bubbles fruit punch so that he'll drink on cue. And so they had this big container of fruit punch, And I'm not kidding. He guzzled that back in literally like 3 seconds. And then there was like a little bit left at the bottom, and he just went in and like sucked it all up. And you could actually hear like the suction. And then they were like, explaining how they breathe through their trunk. It's basically their nose as well. So they put a harmonica in his trunk, at the end of his trunk for him to hold so that you could hear like the breathing. So that was kind of cute. And then they gave him a full watermelon and he crushed it and then held half of it in his trunk, and used the end of his trunk to scoop out the watermelon from inside and ate it. And it was just so neat to see. Then we got to go down in our photo group. So my mother and I, we went down, and each one of us got to feed him a carrot. Um, and the girl in front of us was going, ew, like when he was taking the carrot from her. And so I'm thinking, what is it, like wet? Is it slobbery? But it wasn't. It was the coolest feeling. Um, it felt dry and rough. And like a really odd texture like that I can't describe. It was really neat. And then after we fed him the carrots, we got to go up to him and pet him for, it seemed like a long time. And at one point, I was trying to go and touch his ear, and he decided to move his head, and I almost got knocked over by his trunk because he is like so heavy. So that was really fun. And then when we finished with that, we got to, we would walk over to this other area that had benches kind of going in an L shape, and it was all shaded again. And then this was the highlight. This is the reason we went. They brought out the chimpanzee. Oh my goodness, it was like amazing. And so they brought out the chimpanzee, and I can't remember the chimpanzee's name. I don't even know if we heard it. We were just so excited to see them bring the chimp out. And so they brought him over, sat him on our lap for a photo, and oh, it was just amazing. It was like so amazing. And then after they did that, they picked him up and held him close to us, and he reached out and touched my mom's face, and there's like a picture of them looking at each other. It is the cutest thing. And then I got to pet him and look at him, and he reached out and touched my head. And then yeah, it was a nice meeting. I would say it was like maybe like a minute or two tops because there was a large group of people to get through, but it was great. And as soon as they, took him and moved on to the next person, like I started to tear up. Like I had to like stop myself from crying, but it was just amazing because that was like the main reason we went, and we were just so happy and ecstatic and excited. Then, to our surprise, like they brought out another monkey. They brought out a gibbon, and he was hilarious. Like the gibbons have like very, very long arms. They're very lanky. They remind me of little old men. I saw one at the Minnesota Zoo that was hilarious, doing all these poses and stuff. So he came over and they put him on our lap, and he put his arms up around us. And again, we got to afterwards like look at him face to face and interact and pet him and stuff. And again, he grabbed my mom's head. It just seemed like the monkeys were really like impressed with my mom. So it was really cute. And so yeah, then we're like, wow, we've held two monkeys already. And then they brought out the orangutans. They brought out two orangutans. They had one at each end of the L, so we only got to meet one of them. But the first one that came out that went to the other end that we didn't meet, they brought him out on a bicycle. It was the cutest thing. He was 5 years old. The one that we met was 6 years old. Out of the two, I think the 5-year-old was the cutest one, but whatever. So we met the 6-year-old, and again, well, what they did is they had them hold on to the, I guess, what do you call it? It was like a wooden canopy, so I guess like the rails or whatever in it, beams, I guess. And so they were just hanging on the beams. And so we just got to go over, and they had us on each side of him, and each one of us got to like hold his foot, or not really hold it, but they just had his feet placed in our hands. And then we got again to like interact a little bit and pet him. And again, this orangutan grabbed my mom's face. It was so funny. Um, so that was just amazing. Like for us, like the whole experience was phenomenal. But, our main reason to go was the monkeys. And, I thought it would only be maybe one type of monkey, but to have three different types was just beyond, I don't know, it was just amazing. I can't even explain it. From there, once we finished seeing the orangutan, they sent us to this indoor area where we got to sit and, or actually, they had more refreshments for us. They had all different kinds of potato chips to choose from. They had water, pop, whatever we wanted to choose from a cooler. They had frozen chocolate covered bananas. So good. Um, they had, oh, there was other stuff too. Um, oh, I can't even remember it all. They had a lot of food in there for us. So we got to, take what we wanted, and then we got to sit down on another bench. And these benches faced a pool that was like outside on the other side of the glass. But first, we watched a video about Roscoe the dog. I don't know if any of you have heard the story. It's gone around the internet quite a few times in emails and stuff. That at the Myrtle Beach Zoo Safari, they used to have an orangutan there. The orangutan lives in Miami now, but it used to be on this preserve. And one day, a stray dog wandered onto the property, and this orangutan became best friends with the dog. They named him Roscoe. He lives at the safari now. So after learning the whole story and seeing video of the orangutan with the dog, they brought out the dog, so we actually got to meet Roscoe the dog. That was pretty cool. They didn't take any video or pictures of that either, but whatever. Then we got to watch the trainers swimming with some tigers in the pool, which is really neat because, you generally think cats don't like water, but apparently tigers are the only cat that actually loves the water and they love swimming. So it was really neat. We just got to watch them swim while we ate. And then after that, we went back to the main cabin where each one of us got our own laptop to look at our pictures. And we got to pick our favorite photo to be printed into an 8 by 10. So we picked the one of us with the chimp. And then we got thinking about how I had purchased another photo shoot with a monkey for at their other location that we would have to go to from like between 6 and 9 p.m. and that would cost us another taxi. So I asked about it, and she said, yeah, it's pretty much just what you did now, like with the monkey. You get the picture taken, it's like 5 minutes tops, and you're out of there. And we're thinking, well, why do we want to spend, money on two taxis for 5 minutes? So I asked if I could get a refund on that, and that I would just pay the difference, because if you booked that, you would get a discount on the tour. But she said that the discount worked out to like be even out. So what they did instead is they just gave us a second 8 by 10 print, which we would have got anyways at the other location. So that was really helpful because it saved us money. We didn't have to take any more taxis, so that was great, except for the one back to the hotel, of course. But So that was wonderful. Again, you know, someone being so helpful. Um, so, so mom picked the one of us with the orangutan. Um, so then, while we were waiting for our print, for our photo CD, for our DVD video, all that stuff, they had a freezer that had all these different types of ice cream sandwiches in it that we could help ourselves to. They again had drinks, they had cream puffs, they had the frozen bananas again, all this like good food like to help yourself to. So anyways, we ended up not being finished by 1:15. We were finished by 1:45, and I felt so bad because our taxi driver had waited in the heat for us since 1:15. So we apologized to him, but he was so nice. He's like, no problem. He's like, the safari people came out and explained what was happening. And he was just, again, so helpful and accommodating. So we gave him like a really good tip because we just felt so bad that he was like sitting out in the boiling heat. So it was great that we didn't have to go back for the pictures because that allowed us time to do other things in Myrtle Beach. So we went back to our hotel. We, you know, my mom had a bath and I washed myself with a cloth to cool down, and we changed because we were just so hot. We just cooled down and you know, we cooled down, rested a bit, and then we, what did we do? Oh, we took a shuttle bus that was free to the ocean. And we were there for maybe a little over a half hour, maybe an hour, no longer than that. It was really overcast and it was really, really windy, and we thought it was going to rain. But it was great to see the ocean. We put our feet in the ocean. We collected some seashells, and we got totally like sandy, and it was so muggy and sticky. We felt so gross, but we were like sticky and hot and wind blown, and my glasses were so marked up that I could barely see because of the mist from the ocean. And we were sandy, but we had fun. And then we headed back and we walked around the lake until about 10 o'clock. We did some souvenir shopping and just took some pictures and things like that. And then at 10 o'clock, there was a fireworks display over the lake, which was amazing. And then after that, we went and got frozen custard. I got orange and vanilla frozen custard and it was homemade, and it was in a homemade waffle cone. We actually saw them making the waffle cones there. It was amazing. And so we ate that on the way home, even though we hadn't had dinner yet. And then we had leftovers from Sweet Carolinas the night before, and our hotel room thankfully had a fridge and a microwave. So we just had the leftovers for dinner when we got back to the hotel. And then we just pretty much showered and packed up and got ready for bed. And the next morning we were going to be heading home. So yeah, so that was our day, and all I can say is we were just completely blown away by the whole safari. And if you are an animal lover and you are going to be in Myrtle Beach, or heck, just take the trip to Myrtle Beach, you gotta go to the safari. It is amazing. You'll see all the pictures in this, of course, and video clips from our day, except no videos from the safari because it's on a DVD, and I don't think I'm allowed to post it on YouTube, but you'll see the pictures anyway. And you've heard my account of it, so that's it, guys. I will see you in the next video. Next video shouldn't be much. It's just us heading home. Bye.